Hey guys, it's Chris back with another watch video, and today I am doing a review of the SRPD11, the Seiko Turtle Save the Ocean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through what I like about the watch, what I think is just okay, and then I'm going to go through what I don't like. So right off the bat, the dial. The blue dial that is gradient, it goes down to like a dark blue black. It's gorgeous. Really, really beautiful. The textured dial, referring to that wave pattern on the dial, it's called a blue whale wave pattern. It's really nice. Just a really, really good looking dial in general, especially with those applied indices with Lumibright. It looks really good. The 45mm case actually wears well. It doesn't wear huge. Again, because the case design here, it's sort of sloped on the sides, and the lugs are very short, so it really wears quite well on the wrist, even though it's 45mm. I like that we have a 4R36. It hacks and hand winds. 3 hertz movement, has 24 joules, 41-hour power reserve. Really a very good movement. Some compare it to the 6R15. It's not as good as that movement. However, it does have a lot of good features, a lot better than the SKX. I really love the blue and black bezel insert here. As you can see, blue right over here and the black all the way around. It's a really nice added touch. It matches the dial really well, and you know, because it goes from blue to black, the dial, the bezel does the same. It's really cool. So what's just okay about this watch? Well, the bracelet is just okay. When you compare it to the SKX, it is a little bit nicer because you have a double deployant here instead of the double deployant push buttons here, instead of just a fingernail pull. And then you have a diver's extension, which again is all pressed, very similar to the SPDC, and it's very cumbersome to use. You have to put your fingernail under here and pull pretty hard to get it to open it up. It's really not that good of a it's not really that easy to use. I'm not a fan of the handset on the Turtles in general. This is something that I'm not a fan of on the SPDC. I'm not a fan of them on the SKX either. It's just, I think, sort of off the shelf. Really not much thought has gone into these hands, I feel. I actually like the polished ion line here. So this whole watch is ion plated, but there is a polished line that goes through the bracelet. I kind of like the way that looks. However, I would imagine a lot of people may not like that. It does, in some lights, makes it look cheaper, and some lights it makes it look a little bit more, I don't know. I wouldn't say expensive, but different. So I don't know if that's a like or a dislike. I think it's just okay. So what I don't like about this watch, I'm not a fan of the ion plating. If you've ever owned an ion plated watch, in particular a Seiko ion plated watch, you'll know that they scratch like hell. If you look on eBay, search for Seiko ion plated watches, and you will see that they are completely scratched up usually. And if they're not, that means they're brand new, because just wearing this watch, if you put this bracelet against the desk, this ion plating comes off very easily. Ion plating is not as good as DLC, and it just doesn't work. Anyway, the clasp is all pressed, like I said, and even though if you compare it to the SKX, it is nicer, it definitely is one of the part of this watch that I don't like. It just looks really cheap. It feels cheap. It's kind of tinny, and it makes the bracelet, which is actually a little bit nicer than the SKX, feel tinny as well. That also, part of that is the ion plating, I think. But you know, it's just the feeling of the bracelet, I guess, in this case. But when you look at that dial, it does make things a little bit better, and this probably look really good on a strap. With that dial, maybe a brown strap, even a black strap, obviously, because there's a lot of black in there. Probably black would be the best. But anyway, overall, I actually really like this watch a lot. I really like its dimensions. I like the dial. I like the color setup. I'm not a fan of the ion plating like I mentioned, but I could look past that. I would probably replace the bracelet on this, and you could see even on a brand new watch, the ion plating is not even on the inside of the links. That's kind of crazy. So, but overall for the price, I paid just under $400 for this watch. It's not that cheap, but I think you're getting a really beautiful watch for that price. It's kind of special, very different from any other Seiko, pretty much any other dive watch that you're seeing on the market. You know, to get a dial like this, it's kind of special. No QC issues with this watch, so that's a really good plus. I've had a lot of QC issues. I had QC issues on my SBDC where the chapter ring and the 12 o'clock marker did not line up. And finally, the bezel action is not as tight. It isn't loose, but it is not as tight as the SBDC 061. However, it isn't bad, and it does line up and line it up correctly with the 12 o'clock marker and the chapter ring. Non-screw down crown, and like I said, I like the way the sides are sort of polished ion, and then there's brushing ion, and there's polished and brushing on the bracelet. Overall, it's a good looking watch. Like I said, for the price, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if this watch is for me. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to keep this watch. So I have been wearing it, and I do like it. It just feels a little bit tinny, like I said. But overall, if you like this color setup, I definitely would replace the bracelet. And there is a version, I believe, that is non-ion plated, and that would be the version that I would get. So if I return this, I might be picking up that version. I believe this is the second version of the Save the Ocean, and Turtle Save the Ocean, and I believe there's a previous version that wasn't ion plated. So I'm going to look into that. Anyway, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. It's much appreciated and very helpful. Thank you for joining me.